What is up, my friends? You are welcome along to a relieved player ratings here on Anfield Agenda after Liverpool have found a way at the death to beat Burnley by a Mohamed Salah penalty to nil. During the course of this video, I'm going to go through the referee, the players, the substitutes and our manager, giving them a score out of 10. You'll notice two images in every player icon. The one in the upper right hand corner is the average Anfield Agenda audience score, and the large square in the centre of the image will be mine. If you'd like to include your player ratings in the future, make sure you're signed up to the Anfield Agenda WhatsApp community, as that is where we share the link for you to submit those ratings. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this was brilliant, this was vintage. That was turgid and it was painful, but champions found a way, and we did find a way. So, ladies and gents, let's get stuck into the ratings. Starting off with the referee, Mr. Michael Oliver. Look, a couple of things. One, the stoppage time at the end was nothing short of disgraceful. How we got 5 minutes from that, I do not know. But to be fair to the man, he was decisive, pointing to the spot from the penalty, which was correct. He got the second yellow card for Ogachukwu correct as well, putting Burnley down to 10 men. But all in all, I don't like Michael Oliver refereeing Liverpool games. I don't think he's very good. I don't think he is the best referee in England, despite those, well, that reputation that surrounds him. Today, I'm going to give him a score of 6, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a score there for Mr. Oliver of 5.7. Next up, Alisson. How do I give this man a score? He literally didn't have a shot to save today. So I'm going to go safe here and just give him the average 6, because it was a clean sheet. He did have a little bit to do with his feet, but didn't have any shots to save. So it was an easy afternoon for the big man. The audience gave him a 6.8, by the way. Now moving on to Milos Kerkez. Let me say that the manager was decisive, and I like that. It was probably the right decision as well. Sometimes Milos has just looked a little bit too over-eager in his early Liverpool career. I thought he was brilliant against Arsenal, but today picked himself up a yellow. And for what it's worth, I don't think it was a dive. I don't think it was in any way a penalty, don't get me wrong. But there was a hand on him. Michael Oliver felt he went to ground easily. And Arna then at least took the time when Milos was coming off to have a chat with him and explain. This is why it's important to have Andy Robertson in the squad. Milos is an undoubted talent. We will see far better days from him. But today, that was a learning experience, and one that I hope he does learn from. So, for me, going to give him a score of 4. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone 4.9. Might sound harsh, but there will be far higher scores for him moving forward. I've no doubts about him as a player, but today, he wasn't at his best. Next up, our captain, Virgil van Dijk. Imperious. Both of our centre-backs today. Everything that they had to deal with aerially, they did. In possession as well, they were, probably the ones that played the most passes in the Liverpool team. I haven't got that stat to hand, but I wouldn't say I'm too far off with it. And yeah, I thought our captain was brilliant today. Didn't have too much to deal with, but anything he did, he dealt with it easily. So I'm going to give Virgil a score of 7.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience have gone there for a score of 7.3. Moving on to his centre-back partner, Mr. Ibrahim Konate, backed up his good solid defensive display against Arsenal with another good solid defensive display today. Much like his captain alongside him, everything that was in the air he dealt with easily. One or two niggly little free kicks again, but a very accomplished performance, and hopefully Ibu can keep this up even with the contract situation still hanging over our heads. I'm going to give him a score of 7 today, and the Anfield Agenda audience thought the very same. But I want to reiterate, that is the Ibrahim Konate we know and love, and that is the Konate that we hope we continue to see throughout the season. Right, Dominic Szoboszlai, this guy is just so impressive this season. Right back, central midfield, it doesn't matter. He can do it all. I thought he was really, really good today. Doesn't look out of place in that right back position, but we could do with the pace of Bradley or Frimpong in there moving forward. So today, Dom, another great display, and thank you for it. I'm going to give him a score of 7.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit lower, with an average score there for Dom of 7.3. Do let us know your thoughts though in the comment section. Would you agree with me that Dominic Szoboszlai has probably been Liverpool's most consistent player so far 4 games into the new campaign? Next up, the Anfield Agenda man of the match, and deservedly so. I think in what was a very difficult game today to find positives in, this man was one for me. Every time he gets the ball, he protects it well, uses it well. Out of possession, he's very good as well at getting back, breaking up play. I love him. He's absolutely phenomenal. Deservedly our Anfield Agenda man of the match. And for me today, the highest score I'm going to give, which is an 8, And the Anfield Agenda audience again agreeing with a score there of 8.1 on average. Right, let's move along to Alexis McAllister. Did well to continue on after the challenge on him, which I thought was probably an orange card. Interested to hear from Arne about why he did take him off at half-time. Was it as protection to make sure he was available for Wednesday? I would imagine he was only going to do 60 today anyway, but we did see Conor Bradley come on at half-time for Alexis, so I'm hoping that we don't have an injury concern, but hard to score in that one for him, so I'm going to give him a 6, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone with a 6.1. Do love Alexis though, and I do think we are a better team when he is in the middle of the park. Florian Wirtz, although this wasn't a game he's going to steal the headlines for a goal or an assist, I think it was an accomplished performance. I liked what I seen from Wirtz today, picking up pockets of space and making himself available. The relationships are still being worked out with the likes of Mohamed Salah, Cody Gakpo and others, but you can see that he's like a metronome, always moving, always looking for the ball. And I think when it does all click together and he gets to know those players in and around him a bit better, we have a truly special player on our hands. So for me today, I'm going to give him a score of 7.5, which is a whole point higher than some of the Anfield Agenda average audience scores at 6.5. But for me, I liked what I'd seen today from Florian Wirtz. Cody Gakpo probably should have been taken off earlier. I won't say one-dimensional today because he did go around the outside a couple of times and I did think he got some joy out of Kyle Walker, but a little bit too eager to shoot for me on occasion. We know what he has in his locker when he cuts in onto that right foot, but sometimes I think the lack of pace there or directness at times for Cody is a bit of a difference maker for the team. When you've seen young Rio come on straight away, he's scaring defenders, step overs, making them think, driving into the penalty area. It is good that we have the mix between them, but I would have liked to have seen Cody substituted earlier today. So for me, I'm going to give Cody a score of 6, and the Anfield Agenda audience in full agreement with an exact same score of 6. Next up, the great man, Mohamed Salah. Look, again, let's be honest, a performance that was stop-start, that wasn't vintage, that wasn't good in any way, really. But in that decisive moment, when the pressure was on, he showed his greatness. And it was a really good penalty. I'd be a liar if I told you I wasn't nervous when he stepped up to take it. But he buried it and he put his foot through it, sent the keeper the wrong way. It was a powerful, decisive, confident penalty. And congratulations to Mo on that one. I'm sure performances will come, but he shouldn't be above any substitutions or criticism or critiquing for me, and he does need to be better, a lot better than he has been. But that being said, 4 wins from 4. It's much easier to have these conversations after a perfect start. So for Mo, I'm going to give him a 6. Probably would have been a bit lower if he hadn't have got the penalty, but he did. So for that, I'm giving him a 6 and a 6.1 from the Anfield Agenda audience. Next up, Ugo Ekitike. I'd like to see him given 90 soon. I do understand where Arne is coming in from a new league, but he hasn't looked like he's flagging to me. Today, before the substitutions, I think he was the best of the front 3, so I would have liked him kept on a little bit longer. But like I said, Arne does seem to have a plan there that he feels he's working him towards the full 90 minutes. Another bright performance for me from Hugo, so I'm giving him a score of 6.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience just a little bit lower there with an average score of 6.3. Do let me know in the comments though what you think and when you think Arne will start to maybe give Ugo the full 90. Next up, Andy Robertson. Right substitution from the manager, a brave, bold substitution, and I applaud him for that. If something isn't working, there's no point in letting it go longer and longer. He did bring on Andy Robertson, and we were better when Andy Robertson came on. I thought he was very good today. Again, got himself into a couple of, shooting positions. I think he had a header and a shot, forcing a save from the goalkeeper. And I thought Andy Robertson was far better than Kirkes when he came on. So for that, I'm giving Robbo a 7, which is coincidentally the exact same as the Anfield Agenda audience. I must point out, I don't know the audience scores when we're doing this. Connor sets up the scores in the background. We have a phone call after the game. I give him my scores, and then I find out in real time with you guys what the audience scores are. And remember, if you do want to take part in the future, scan the QR code there in the bottom right hand corner, and that will give you the link to our WhatsApp, which is where we submit the link for the ratings. Next up, Connor Bradley, much like Andy Robertson, we talked about him coming on the right-hand side. Connor Bradley made a big difference to me when he came on. Looked really good, looked very sharp, and again, getting into good positions. The pace of Frimpong and him this season are going to give us a real ability to mix it up. So, great performance coming back in for Connor Bradley. Would be very surprised if we don't see him start against Atletico on Wednesday. I'm going to give him a score of 7.5 because I really do think he made a difference coming off the bench today. And the Anfield Agenda audience just a little bit lower with an average score there for Connor of 7. Now, Federico Chiesa. I mean, he probably had the best chance of the game. And that was the cross that Andy Robertson put in. He pulled in between two central defenders, got his header away, but just couldn't guide it on target. Look, again, we want Arne to give him opportunities, and he has. You're never going to lack effort from Federico Chiesa, but maybe a little bit longer next time, Arne, to give him more time to get into the game. Today, I'm giving him a score of 6, which I think is a fair reflection of what we've seen when he came off the bench. And the Anfield Agenda audience, exactly the same, with an average score of 6. Now, Frimpong. I'm really excited to see more of this guy because his pace is lightning. And if I remember correctly, it was his ball into the box that ricocheted off Hannibal's arm for the penalty. If I'm wrong on that, my apologies. But my memory tells me it is. And again, he was getting into attacking areas, had a shot that was palmed behind for a corner. And it's great to have him back after that little injury setback before the international break. So, going to give Jeremy a 6.5. And the audience gone a little bit higher there with an average score of 6.6. Now, the young boy, the superstar, tell me you weren't excited when he got on the ball every time. Tell me you weren't even excited just seeing him coming off the bench. He is the future on that left-hand side. He is going to be an absolute superstar. And again, I look forward to seeing more and more of young Rio Ngamoa. Exciting little cameo today from the bench. Always looked like he was going to take his man on, make something happen, draw defenders, and create a little bit of space as well. So for me, giving him a 6.5, which again, coincidentally, is exactly the same as the audience. Last one up today, of course, is our manager, Arne Slot. Understand the decision not to play Isak today or put him in the squad. I do. I understand he wants him to get a full week of training in and have him ready. In truth, he probably expected that game to go a little bit easier today, but we were playing against a low block, and again, it was an Achilles heel for us. So I've got to say there were things I think Arne could have done differently. Substitutions I think he could have made a little bit earlier. But all in all, we still haven't seen a good performance yet this season from the Reds. The one against Arsenal was decent, but I still want us to show the calibre and the class that we do have. And I'm sure Arne is working on it. It'll come together eventually. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think that was the greatest performance at all today from the manager or the way we went about it. So I'm going to give him a score of 5.5. And the Anfield Agenda audience a little bit higher with 6.5. And look, I don't mean to be derogatory, but it wasn't a great performance. Wins are wins, and I'm very grateful for them. But I'd like a little bit of flair. I'd like the ability to us to break down these low blocks, and I think it will all come together. And when it does, Arne will be getting higher scores, and we'll be putting more balls in the back of the net. So, ladies and gentlemen, for now, that is the Anfield Agenda player ratings. The good news, I'll be back here tonight at 8:45 for the Late Night Agenda, and the Anfield Agenda podcast will be out at 11 p.m. tonight as well. So keep an eye out for that one. We'll talk soon. Enjoy the Manchester Derby if you're watching it, and thank you for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.